Mm, 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 mm. Welcome back. We're back with another episode of Beyond the Coach. And this time we are joined by a very special guest, our very own Coach Carly. Welcome, Carly.
Hello.
Carly is one of our amazing coaches at Apex Athletics. And today we are getting a chance to just chat with her a little bit more about her journey, about her coaching, about her life, about her. It's so much fun.
Partly, how does it feel to be under like a what's like the interrogation? Like a headlight.
Oh yeah.
What's like being in the spotlight here?
We're cueing the Law and Order
That's
theme
why I have my
song.
hat on. I can hide my face. Like I didn't hear what you said.
Where were you on Wednesday, August 16th?
Also, if you're watching on YouTube, you can peep Carly's finger. She's got engaged this past weekend.
I know. And my nails aren't painted. That's the worst part. I
Were your
painted
nails
one
painted
hand
when
after
you
it
got
happened.
engaged, or did you go and paint them immediately after?
Right after. I just painted my one hand and that was it. So I could take a picture of it and post it.
Legendary. That is
That's
so
amazing.
great. Honestly, the girls will get it. Like the girls will understand.
I heard of a girl who kept press-ons in her purse because she was expecting her boyfriend to propose. So like when he did, she could just put the press-ons on.
That's so funny.
That's wild.
It's so
Real
funny.
though.
I was just lucky that I had I had my nails painted at that point. My nails are never painted. So it was like, I did not think we were getting engaged. So they just happened to be painted. So it was
I
a
started
lucky
getting
day.
in the habit of getting my nails done because I knew it was eventually coming. And then you get in the habit of getting married, and then, it's just.
The habit of getting married? You just a habit of getting married all the time?
It's just a
Sounds expensive.
toxic habit. The habit of getting your nails done in preparation for getting married, that's its own budget, okay? That we need to talk about, okay?
Yes.
That's expensive.
Especially if
Mm-mm.
all your friends are getting married at the same time. Like, then you're just like constantly getting your nails done.
Honestly, that could be its own podcast episode, is just how expensive it is to like get married, be in weddings, attend festivities. But we're good friends. We're good people because we support our people.
We love supporting.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Well, Carly, let's get into the fun stuff. Let's
Yeah.
chat about you. You want to just tell us a little bit more about like how you kind of got into coaching? Well, tell us a little bit more about just actually first, like you have a few other things that you do outside of coaching that make you like even I feel like a better coach because of your experience with those things. So tell us a little more about that.
Yeah, so I started working out probably, I think it was my junior year of high school because I bought a prom dress that was like 6 sizes too small on me because I got it for a wicked deal. It was only $100. So I was like, I'm gonna do
That is a deal.
anything that I can to fit in this prom dress. I was working out 2 times a day, eating just the chicken off the top of my salad. So like a really unhealthy way to get into it. And then after that, I get on birth control, and just like every woman, I gained 30 pounds within 2 months. So it was like insane. And ever since then, I feel like I've always been dieting, always been trying to lose weight, like just trying to get that off. Like I can get up back to like the weight after I gained all of it from birth control, but like that birth control weight just will never come off my body. So since then, I wanted to create a healthier relationship with food because it just was not good. And I went off to college, gained more weight just like everyone else does, hated school there, came home, and was like, what do I even want to do with my life? And I was like talking to my mom, and I'm like, what do you think I'm good at? Because I'm like, I don't know what I'm good at.
Your
And she,
mom. It's such a mom thing to ask. Like, Mom, what should I do with my life? Like,
like,
what
because
am I
what I
good
just
at?
did obviously didn't work. I just spent $50,000 at a college, and it doesn't count for anything at this point. So I need help. And she's like, well, you really love helping people. So, like, how could you help people? She's like, do you want to be a teacher? I was like, not a chance. So I
Like,
just,
that's a cute idea for the
Yeah,
5
amen
seconds
to
that
that
we
for
pondered
sure.
that. So, moving on.
so I just went on my local junior college page and I'm like, what can I do like in the meantime? Because if I take a year off of school, I'm not going back. Like I know myself, if I take that break, like it's just done and over with. And I originally was hoping to be an ultrasound tech, and I get into the first like required class of it. And the class wasn't just for ultrasound techs, but they only accepted 12 people in the program. And we're going around the room. There's 30 of us in the class. Everyone's saying what they want to major in. All 30 of us said that. And I was like, need a backup, that's for sure, because I don't know if I'm going to get into that program. And during then, I started working at a physical therapy company just to like get my toes into the medical world. And I ended up applying for the PTA program because it felt right. I was able to help people. I was able to see them from beginning to end. It was like the hardest 2 years of my life. I worked 3 jobs while I did it. And I think that just kind of brings us into my life now because I can't get away from working 3 jobs. Like, I finally will be like, all right, I'm just working 1 job or 2 jobs. I leave one and then I'm like, I'm bored. I want something else. Like, I want to help more people. That's all I want in my life is to help more people. So I just left the physical therapy, like clinical world. So I don't treat patients in person anymore, but I work at Washington University in research, which is really great because we're figuring out everything about the shoulder, everything about rotator cuff pain, rotator cuff tears. So like I still get to help people, but be in a more relaxed environment and an environment where I'm not pushed to do things that I'm not comfortable with. I'm finally like choosing a path of things that I'm comfortable with, and that's coaching clients, learning more about the shoulder, and then I also do train people in person. I've kept that on the minimum recently to help myself out, but still help other people. So yeah, that's kind of me and what I do.
I love it.
Honestly, I've always been the same though. I've always worked like 12 jobs at once. I'm like, I can't. Growing up, I was like a hustler. I was like, I will like always work 12,000 jobs at once. So I respect the grind.
I don't understand why I do it to myself, but this is the time when I don't have kids, like just make all that money and then, because I know it won't be like this when I have children.
Yes.
At least I hope so.
Carly's just constantly living in chaos.
Sustain that while having kids, I'm like, you can please write a book, like for all of us.
Please tell us how to do it.
Give us some guidelines on that.
Seriously.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. So where did your like love for lifting now? Like where did you feel like that healed the most for you? Or like what was the biggest like transformative moment like in this whole career shift that you've had to be like, okay, like this is working now or this is like how I want it to be?
Yeah, I got a coach in 2020 before I think we started like in the summer maybe of 2020. So I didn't have a lot of money and I was like, I'm just going to put all my eggs in one basket. I'm going to Punta Cana for 2 weeks at the end of the year. Like, let's see what I can do. And that's when I really grew in strength. Like I went from not even being able to bench the bar to being close to benching a plate like I now can at this point. But I felt like that was a huge thing. And I look back on videos and see myself like leg pressing and I'm like, oh my God, 2 plates on there. And then I realize now, like at the end of the journey of like being with that coach, I was pushing 1,000 pounds and I'm like, how can like you go from A to B like so fast? And that's really what fueled my desire to work out more. Cause I'm like, if I could start here and end up here, like starting from this point now, like how much further can I get and how much stronger can I get? And like how can I implement more activities into my lifestyle? And now I'm a NordicTrack girl. I'm not a Peloton girl. I'm a NordicTrack girl. I love biking now and just like adding so many more fuels to my source.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome. So it really was like a sense of becoming like a stronger version of you or your stronger self versus always like your smaller self as well. I mean, going from getting the prom dress that was 6 sizes too small, that'll definitely trigger something. And so you really got to evolve on that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I remember being like so excited about like fitting into that dress. Me and my friend went through the same thing and we will hang out now and we're like, do you remember what we did junior year of high school to fit into those dresses? I'm like, I don't want to talk about it. Like thinking about that now, like what we did was horrible for our bodies and I'm glad we will never do that again.
The growth, honestly, I'm like, what side of delusion was I living on? Like, talk about adherence. Me adhering to some of the things I used to do, I'm like, that was not a fun time.
I used to go into one of my teacher's offices during study hall and she would let me do an ab workout in her office during study hall. And I'm like, why was she allowing me to do that?
No one knew the signs and symptoms of disordered
They-
relationships
that was
with
like normal.
exercise.
Yeah.
They're like, oh yeah, go do some crunches in my office. Like, go for it.
No big deal. You're fine.
Crazy. No, truly wild.
So how did you kind of get into like online coaching? Like what like prompted that? Was it the coach? Was it like what kind of like sparked like I need to be doing this?
I think it started with like seeing in physical therapy, like people leaving physical therapy and coming back time after time after time because they had no guidance afterwards. They were hurting themselves in the gym. And I thought that I could be a really great extension of that, you know, like having the position I did when I discharge or when the PT discharges the patient, I can encourage them to come work with me and continue to get strong and be safe outside of physical therapy so they don't have to continue spending $150 per visit 2 to 3
Truly.
times a week.
Yeah.
So I got my nutrition certification. I didn't get my CPT until last year. I didn't really think I needed it. Like all the things that I would learn in a CPT, I feel like I learned in PTA school.
Right.
And then it just turned into more and more people are like, well, she doesn't have her CPT. She doesn't have her CPT. So I just bought the course. I took it without studying, got a 98% and told you guys. I was like, I didn't need it. I told you.
Yeah.
But now I have the letters after my name.
That's so funny. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Yep.
the best part though, I think about becoming like a full-time online coach is I was just training my friends and I one day just messaged Chris because I was being coached by Sydney when she was with Revolution and I was like, you know, I'm just kind of throwing this out there, but like I know you guys were looking for a coach before. I think that I could do really well with the team, help out with pain science, all those things. And I didn't expect a good response because I had with my previous coach that wasn't Revolution, I messaged them about it. They did like a trial phase with me, had me give them one of the coaches exercises and to see like if it would help her with pain and all that. And so basically I gave her exercises for a whole month and then never heard back from them.
I remember that. Oh my God. It's all
Interesting.
coming back to me that had happened.
So I was like, well, I'll put myself out there one more time, and if I get screwed over again, then you know that's the end of it.
Like if Chris actually ghosted me, then like screw like I'm just gonna
I
F
just
off.
give you free
It's fine.
services.
No, I do
That's so
remember that. I
interesting.
remember you had sent me like a well crafted email. Like it was one of, and it's so funny getting these like professional emails from people that you just so casually like DM back and forth, or like, you know, you're hyping them up. Like obviously like I knew Carly and like we had a relationship to some degree. But then when you had sent it, this just goes for anybody listening. It's like, it just goes to show like, put yourself out there because you genuinely don't know. And I think what I saw in you, Carly, was just someone who like, I can't teach someone to like love Revolution at the time. Obviously we're Apex now, but like, I can't teach someone to like love my company or like care for it as much. Like you're never gonna find anyone who cares about your business as much as obviously you who created it. But something you really can't teach is like passion and integrity and like conviction and like that true just like desire and commitment. But what I can teach is skills towards coaching and how to do check-ins, and you know, for the right people you're willing to mentor them to fit into that role. And I think that that's where the current job market goes wrong a lot of the times. People are still too hung up on the credentials and on the letters and on all of this stuff. And I'm like, yes, that's a piece of it, but it doesn't need to be that's not the whole thing. You could have someone with all the credentials in the world and they could end up actually being not a great coach, and they could just end up, you know, we've been on both sides there. So yeah, when you had sent me that, I just remember being like, I have no reason not to talk to Carly more about this and like see if an opportunity is there. And you've obviously been here ever since. So like pop off, queen. Like you can do
Yeah.
that.
I
It's like
definitely
2
needed
years.
the mentoring, that was for sure. I know the beginning was like a little rough with me. Like I feel like in the beginning, like I had a clue what I was doing, but I like kind of threw myself in the deep end. Like I came in during a scholarship, all that. And I think that that's what made me a better coach is like making the mistakes that I did because everyone's going to, and being able to have a really great mentor when I did make those mistakes to be able to help push me through it and learn from those mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've always been receptive to feedback too. Like if there's a quality that I can give anybody listening that like wants to be an assistant coach. It's like, be so receptive to feedback and recognize that it's not out of us wanting you to do bad. It's out of us wanting you to do your best. And like a mentor who's willing to like give you feedback and be honest with you is going to get you farther than somebody who's just going to be like, yeah, everything's fine. And then they up and ghost you, or don't answer you or don't answer that email. So you've done amazing. And this almost segues into a question that like I didn't have, but now I do have, is like, for anyone listening who like wants to be an assistant coach, what like advice would you give them like going into this world of online coaching?
Yeah, that's a very funny question because I did have someone message me and ask how I became a coach with you guys, and they're like, how did you do it? What do I need to do if I want to be a coach with anyone? And I was like, just put yourself out there. I mean, start with coaching your friends, make sure that like you have an idea of how you're going to set things up, how you're going to do check-ins, like how you're just like going to communicate with humans, because sometimes the whole communicating online with people, it's really, really hard and not everyone can do it. So number one, know how to communicate with humans. Number two, put yourself out there. Send emails to 5 or 6 different companies that you follow on Instagram and see if anyone bites. And just create those relationships. Continue following those people on Instagram, hyping up their pages, because if they see you, they know that you love their page, like they're more apt to like want to hire you, because if you like just follow someone that day and then you send them the email, they're going to be like, but why me? Like, why do you want to coach for me? Like, what do you even know about this company? And you're like, well, on your website, it says this, like, and that's what
your brand colors
with Revolution. Like, I knew everything about Revolution. I'd been a client for a whole year. Like, obviously I didn't know like the ins and outs of it, but like I knew the basis of Revolution. I knew what the motto was, all of that. So just getting to know who you want to work for and putting yourself out there.
Yeah, that's awesome. And obviously you've aligned as far as like the type of clientele we work with and stuff too. But I think also something we pride ourselves in is like every coach has their own like strengths and their own ideal client and their own people that they like to work with. So like, who is that to you? Like in an ideal world, like who are you serving under Apex? Who do you, and this is to say you enjoy serving anybody. Like, I think that's the beautiful thing about us and how versatile of a team we are, is we all get to lean on each other as well. But like, who is that person that you're like, I'm ready to serve you. I want you to come in and I can transform your life, your lifestyle, your body, like whatever that is.
Yeah, I feel like I love working with all types of clients just because it gives me that variety, but I love the person who has already like tried to do something, because I know that they have the drive, the willpower for it, especially like if they failed before, that like sets a fire up their butt. I don't know if I'm able to say.
You can cuss.
Say ass.
Their ass, like, because now they're getting this next coach and they're like, I want to do better. I want to like make this worth my time. And I love to lift really heavy. You know, of course I can help with running programs. I would probably message Kelsey about that, but running is not my forte. Like, I don't know if you see me, I don't run. But
I also
Nordic track though, biking programs.
yeah,
Nordic track,
in.
got you.
But if my feet have to be on the ground, like moving across the road, I've tried. I really tried. I'll just
anybody sees Carly and I running, you probably should run too, because there's probably something chasing us, if we're being completely honest here. Like, let's face it. Now, if Kelsey's running, it's because she's doing that intentionally.
It's on purpose. I am not running from anything. I don't think. I might be.
Yeah. So really, I like to work with people who love lifting heavy, who've maybe gone through a previous injury, so they know like what physical therapy is like. They know like how intentional you have to be with your warm up, your cool down, movement prep, all of those things. So, but I really like training anyone. I love talking to people. I'm a yapper. Like, I can find a way to talk to anyone. So
no, I feel like you get so like, you're like tight with your clients. Like, I feel like you guys have like your own like language that you guys get to have together. And like, I really do love to see that with your clients, because I feel like you do genuinely become like their best friend that they need in a space that like isn't, it's easy to feel alone, or it's easy to feel like unheard, or to feel like people don't get you. It's like they need their friend Carly, like, to take them on that journey.
Yeah, I had a exit call last week with a client, and I always like to ask at the end, I'm like, is there anything that you think that I did really well, or is there anything you think that I need to improve on? I was like, I always say I love constructive criticism. Like, if there's something like that really bothered you about me, or like if I said something that was annoying like all the time, if I say like too many, like just tell me. And this client, she told me that she loved like how I met her where she was at with communication. Like, I didn't message her every single day and annoy the shit out of her, but I also did still keep in touch with her. And like on the weeks where she was on vacation or had a hard week with work and she had already told me about that, I didn't like press too hard on her because she loves her space and I gave her the space when she needed it, but of course was there when she needed it as well. And she's like, I really appreciated that you just like met me where I was at.
Yeah, that's
so cool.
awesome.
I've like loved just the past month of auditing your check-ins and your like client things. I remember like the first time I did my like audit through one.
Which audit
I
sounds
was
like such a like aggressive
sounds
word
bad,
sometimes.
but
Like Carly, I
it's
know
a
one
good
time was
thing.
like, I hate the word audit. Like just
I
something
know.
about an audit, but you do so well with the
Yeah,
feedback we
because
give
like you
you.
think about auditors, like they're not,
Yeah.
they're it's
Like,
scary.
Like the IRS, like
Yeah,
auditing
it's like
you,
I'm
you're
a
like
tax
that
auditor.
petrifies me.
Audit is a horrible word. Okay, so I was reviewing your check-ins because that's what we do every week at Apex is we just like to make sure that we're still providing a high quality experience to every single client. So we pick a random person. And I remember the first one, I was like I remember texting Chris after. I was like, I freaking love our coaching staff. They're so good. They're so smart. Everything is so amazing. I was like so excited with your programming, but I remember this one. I think it was like the second check-in review I did for you. And I was with, I can't remember which client it was, but I remember after you were like, that's like literally like she's just like a homie. Like she's just one of the awesome clients I have. And but you like I can't believe that this happened. You're just a badass bitch. And I was like, I love this. I was like, I
Yeah.
love this so much. Like if I got a check-in for my coach, like called me a badass bitch, I'd be like, yeah, let's go. So it's just so cool. Like it's real. Like you do treat your clients, but it's like in a good way. Cause I think in that same exact check-in, you like set her straight. You're like, also though, we need to be doing this thing. Like I don't remember what the specifics were, but it's cool to have like get you a coach who can do both. Like get you a coach who can be your hype woman, but also that's gonna like set you straight and like help you reach your goals. Like that's Carly. Like it's just been so cool to watch your
Yeah.
check-ins and like get to know you more. Like I've just loved it.
I love to be fun, especially with gifts. I know the client that you're talking about, and today she was late with her check-in and messaged me, and whenever she's late, she'll be like, don't break up with me, but I'm gonna get my check-in done at this time. And she didn't get it done at that time, so I sent her a GIF, and it was like someone looking through the window, or looking with binoculars and says, I'm watching you, and she was like, oh my God, you caught me.
It's all
Accountability.
about like I love the relationship genuinely that like you build, and I think it
Yeah.
just I think the coach client relationship is so important, and it can truly like make or break someone's success in a program. And like this is why we as Apex try to do a good job of like pairing personalities together and who we think like really will thrive with each other. And you just are such a fun like coach who will still bring someone back in when they need it. But I think it makes you unique, and like you also are so funny. Like you're
So
fun as
funny.
fuck. Like you are
So
literally,
funny.
and I've talked about that in your content. I'm like, Carly, like just go be your funny self because you are so comical. If I ever need like a witty thing, I'm like, Carly, tell me, like give me the lingo. What's like the new thing people are saying? Like help. Carly keeps us hip. Like I feel like that's what it is. Like I'm like, you keep us cool. 'Cause
That's
I'm not as funny as you.
Yeah, that's the hard thing though. I'm not going to be in the lingo anymore because I used to treat so many high schoolers because we were
Oh.
affiliated with so many. So I'd ask them, I would be like, what does skibbity mean? And they would give me like all of them that were in there, they would give this long definition of what skibbity is, but like I have no one to ask
Or
anymore.
like the
So
Riz, like when
Oh,
that came
no.
up. The only way I know these terms is either through you or Kenneth, because Kenneth is a therapist and he has some younger clients, and not as much anymore, but when he used to like treat more younger kids, he'd like be like, do you know what Riz is? I'm like, what are these words? Like I'm
Dude,
screwed
the-
as a parent.
My dad is a middle school teacher, and the things he talks, he's like Skibidi Ohio toilet or whatever that saying is. Like hearing a 56-year-old man say these things, so funny. Like he's like, I don't know what any of this is, but he knows more than I do. He'll
Mhm.
like, oh my gosh, I like, yeah, I can't keep up with the. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's when you feel old when you're like,
Yeah.
Skibidi, and like Caden's cousins are in high school, they'll say stuff, and I'm like, oh no. Like,
We're
I'm
at
that
that
old
age now.
adult that I'm like, those dang kids and their sayings, they're not saying rad anymore. I'm like, oh my gosh, get me a cane. Uh,
Yeah.
So true. So true.
Yeah, I'm funny and witty until it comes to a wedding hashtag. I have no clue what it's gonna be. Like I could come up with a wedding hashtag for anyone besides myself.
Yeah.
ooh, this is
Yeah,
fun.
I got away with it pretty easy because my last name was Sweet, so my hashtag was not so sweet anymore. It's like
Oh,
it was just I mean, I'm still my last name's still Sweet though, legally, so
what's your fiance's last? Oh, fiance.
It's
oh,
Stringer. So I
fiance.
feel like there's so many things you
Fiance.
can do with Stringer, but
Yeah,
Stringer.
I haven't figured it out.
Yeah,
give
I'm
me some
not the person
time.
to ask.
Yeah.
I
Anybody
love this
listening,
game.
drop your recommendations.
We did
Just comments.
my when my best friend Emma got married, her new last name is Duncan, so we did Duncan Love, like drunken love.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
that's
a
so
good one.
cute.
I like
Yeah, I
that.
was pretty proud of that.
That's a
So
good
give me
one.
some time.
Yeah, we'll mull it
Stringer,
over. Mull it over.
hold it
No,
over.
but you are such a fun coach. Like you bring a level of fun to coaching
Mhm.
into health itself. Um, I'm
Bars.
curious, like what one piece of advice is that you would give to like somebody who is struggling on their fitness journey or like is in this weird plateau or like has tried it time and time again. And I think it's because you've also been there yourself. You've hired coaches in the past to like help you through that. Just like what would you tell them to the people who keep saying like, "Oh, I can just do it myself," or "I just need to do it." Like I just need to like make it happen.
Yeah, I would say if you don't have a routine, you need one. I feel like that's the big thing right now in social media with like Kylie Perkins and Mel Robbins, but they are all so right. I feel like like in 2024, fitness wise, it was not my best. I went back and I looked at like all of my trends on my phone and I was like, that's what set the fire up my ass. I'm like, how am I a fitness coach? And like my average step count was 4,000 some months. Like that's not good. And then real like just sitting down and thinking like what do I need to do? And what I was missing was a routine. Like I have a morning routine now, a night routine, and my morning routine makes my day at work and then getting to the gym so much easier. And then my nighttime routine makes it easier to wake up in the morning. It makes me happier to wake up in the morning because I wake up, there's nothing in my sink, there's nothing on the floor, like everything's clean. So just being in like a cleaner environment and like having those things that are going to happen for me every day. Like even over the weekend, I did the same things because I knew I was going to be happier. And now that I'm happier and have more energy, I'm able to get to the gym. I'm able to meal prep. I'm able to do all the things that I want to do because I don't just like lay in bed in all my free time anymore. Like I want to be up. I want to be doing things like staying in motion.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I think that's
routine.
such a fair point too of just like struggles on like every coach has struggles on their fitness journey as well. And I think that that also makes you just a great coach is that like you've been there, you've done it. I know I've continued to be there and go through it myself. It's
Yeah.
like it makes you a good coach.
Yeah. I haven't changed too much about my diet this year, and I just started a routine and I'm down 12 pounds this year. So it's like being like
Same.
happier will genuinely like
Mm.
help you along your fitness journey because it you want to do more things and finding
Really
what makes you happy is going to do that for you.
love
I
that.
love that.
I was also gonna ask too, like kind of going off of that, because you mentioned like I was a fitness coach and I wasn't doing things myself. Like, what do you feel like how do you feel like it's helped your coaching in like you mentioned too, I'm like down 12 pounds because I'm like happier, but also like you obviously have a morning routine, night routine, like you're walking the walk now. And like how do you feel like that's helped you as a coach between not necessarily walking the walk as well as you could have last year to now this year doing the dang thing?
Yeah, I think it builds more trust in clients. Like, even when they submit their check-ins or they message me, they'll be like, "Oh, I saw you were doing this. Like, how can I get into this?" And they want to do the things that I'm doing. So it makes me realize now, like, if I'm not sharing on my story, like my routines, my walks, my workouts, it's showing them that, like, if it's not important for me, maybe it's not as important for them. And me doing things and holding myself accountable also holds themselves accountable. They'll see my workout and they're like, oh my God, you just made me realize I have to get my workout done. And then they get it done. So I think that one, builds more trust with them, and two, it just gives them more ideas of what they should be doing, because if I can take, or if I can give advice to anyone, then they're going to take it from me if they see that I'm doing it too. They don't want to take advice from someone who doesn't do the same things.
Yeah, I love that. We obviously talk to primarily coaches on this podcast. Like, it's a variety of people who listen, or at least I think it's a variety. I have no idea. Like, let me
Who
know who you
knows?
are in the comments. Like, let me know all about your
We need
life.
to know who's watching us.
We need to know. But it's like primarily coaches. And then obviously we have clients and lifestyle people who come in, and we have, podcast episodes like this that we hope that more people listen to. But a big thing that we talk about is how, like, having a coach yourself, like, genuinely makes you a better coach. Like, I talk about, I was literally filming modules today for Beyond the Cert, and I was talking about how, like, literally if you don't have a coach, it helps so much to know, like, what a check-in cadence looks like what bits are kind of touched on, how someone delivers these things. Like, even if you don't need a coach necessarily to, like, lose weight, gain muscle, whatever, like, having a coach just creates such an outcome. How did having a coach, like, shape you as a coach yourself and, like, help you be a better coach?
Yeah, I think it's nice to know, because, like, Sydney was my coach, and I think a lot of the things that Sydney did, I started doing as well, because I really liked, like, how she structured her check-ins. Like, the way I have, like, half of one thing on the screen and half of another, she always did that, and I loved that she had both things up, and I started doing that because I loved that Sydney did that. So taking things away from my coach, like the things she did for me and the way that she communicated with me, that kind of shaped me into how I wanted to be a coach. And I do work with a registered dietitian now. I meet with her every Sunday, and, like, listening to some of the things that she talks about when it comes to fruits and veggies, because, they know, like, every single vitamin and mineral that's in every fruit and veggie. And she teaches me, like, all these things. I didn't know that mushrooms have so much vitamin D, because they absorb it themselves in the sun. So you get a ton of vitamin D when you eat mushrooms, because of all of it that gets absorbed by the sun. I'm like, I would have never known that if I never had a coach or a dietitian that I was working with. And you learn so many things from other people. You learn something new every single day. You're never going to know everything.
I couldn't agree more. Even to this day, I work with a coach, and I'm like, I pick up something new, or a new way of saying things, or a new comparison, or I don't know. It's nice to see that. So for sure.
Yeah.
Helps a
Even if
ton.
it's not like an educational touch point, it's like a application that you can use in your own coaching, which is, like, so helpful. Yeah. I was gonna ask too, like, what do you feel like makes you such a good coach? Like, what do you feel like is the thing that, like, or multiple things that, like, set you apart?
Wait, I also want to add to this, because I was going to ask a very similar question. I had it in my head, and it was like, why are you the best coach for someone to work with? Like, I
Yeah.
just feel like, let's hype yourself up.
Hype yourself up.
Yeah, I feel like I've just been through so much. I've done so many things. I've tried so many things. I did Beachbody. I did one of those 21-day cleanses where I just drank powders for an entire 3 weeks. And I've done all of the miserable things. Like, and having that experience, not, like, knowing what not to do and what I should do instead, is really helpful. And the fact that I'm not, like, that super skinny, very built, lean coach, I think makes me more relatable for some women, because more women my size, they may be intimidated by those coaches, and, nothing against them. They're all probably really great coaches, but I think it makes me a little bit more approachable. And I can give them a different experience of things, because I've been overweight, I've been underweight, I've been a good weight. Like, I've been at all stages through my life, so I have experiences from it all. I think that really helps me, and everyone keeps on telling me I'm funny, so I'm starting to believe that I'm funny. And I think
If this podcast doesn't solidify that you're funny, I don't know what will. Thank you.
like, you have to bring humor into something. And I was watching Southern Charm today, and it was like, if you're not sleeping with them or getting money from them, they better be making you laugh. So, I mean, I'm not doing either of those things with my clients, so I'm making them laugh.
So good.
No, if you're not doing that with your clients.
Yeah. They all live on other sides of the country, so it should be confirmed that that's not happening.
Technically,
Carly's
you are
making
getting money
everyone
from
laugh.
them in a way. Like, that's how you make money, technically.
By
Yeah,
making them laugh. You're a comedian.
Yes.
exactly. So that's
Amazing.
my new motto. If you can't sleep with them or give them money, you have to make them laugh. And that's what I'm going to do with most people. I can't give away a lot of money. I have a fiance, so I just have to make everyone laugh.
That's amazing.
That's a way to
And-
live life.
Yeah, you don't want those coaches that like give you the check-in and they're just like sitting in the screen monotone and you're like, do you like go out in public and speak to people? Like, let's ask some questions. Like, let's create some conversation. And being in the PT world and treating 18 people within 6 hours, I had to have conversations. I mean, I I talked to people about the same topic 18 times in one day. So being able to create those conversational skills has been really easy for me to help, I think, be a better coach because I can have a conversation with someone. I can ask the right questions. I can just like continue a conversation and not have all these open or closed-ended questions where it's just yes or no, back and forth, back and forth.
That's such a good point. I think a lot of people are confused about what online coaching is. Like, I feel like so many people are like, do you just like work out on Zoom with people? I'm like, no, I like just coach them. Like, I
You
send them
know.
Loom videos. But I think that's such a good point. Could you elaborate on that? Like, we send Loom videos, right? Like, we
Yeah.
send videos, we send it to the client, but like, how do you make that conversational? I think that's such a helpful thing for coaches to hear too, because I think a lot of coaches can get stuck in one of my biggest pet peeves. One of my biggest pet peeves
I know what
is
you're gonna say because
Yep.
you literally gave it to me for my presentation today.
I did. I
Mhm.
hate it with a burning passion when a coach is like, so I see you did this today, this week. Congratulations. Like reading off the check-in form. Like they freaking know what they wrote. They wrote it. You don't need to read it back to them. They don't need it regurgitated. They need feedback. They need questions. They need clarification. Like, well, that's what you need as a coach as well. So like, how do you make your check-ins more conversational, even though it is a one-way screen conversation
Mhm.
to them that they just respond to later on?
Yeah, so of course, looking at the check-in beforehand, you don't go into a check-in blindly because there are some things that can scare you within that check-in that if you go in blindly, you're like, all right, I have to pause this and restart because what did I just read? And pulling out the things that like when we ask about your menstrual cycle, if they're like it's happening in a week, I don't need to mention that. So I know that I could just kind of like gloss over that question because there's nothing to go over in that. But finding like the big key things in there, you think about when you're writing an essay, how you have to like pull key topics out of that essay, like looking at the check-in like it is an essay. What are the big key points? What was good? What was bad? Find something to relate with them on, and then find something to educate them on. So sometimes a check-in, I only look at their MyFitnessPal because they just talk throughout the whole check-in about how nutrition just wasn't good. All right, well, let's spend 10 minutes going through a week of what you ate, give you different things that you could change about what you're eating, different substitutions like that. And if nutrition wasn't the battle and their workouts were a battle, go into their workouts for the week, pull up every single workout and say like, all right, last week you deadlifted 125 pounds. This week, why did you go in and deadlift only 110 pounds? And, just kind of give them feedback on what they're doing and how they can do it better. And then also giving those open-ended questions for them to reply to you and say like, I'm struggling with this part of my form, and then that creates another question. Well, can you send me a form video? Then they get another Loom video from me of me watching their workout. So just, I don't know, really pulling out the key points and looking at it beforehand and knowing like, this is important because they mentioned it 3 or 4 times. This isn't important because it says no or it says yes, and going from there.
Yeah, I think like another helpful thing is like we give a lot of touch points with our clients from like the onboarding call to like now we have like every 90-day doing calls with clients and all these different touch points. And I'm sure it's just like a collective like getting to know them on that onboarding call and building a really good relationship and then just continuing to kind of like almost create it into a two-way, because it is a two-way street. It's a
Mhm.
it's a relationship. It goes two ways on that, or both ways on it. So versus it being like one way and you're like, it's one way or the highway, it's my way. It's like you get to ask those questions and create conversation back and forth continuously,
Mhm.
and you get to build that relationship under so many opportunities of like the calls you get to do with them.
Yeah, I really like to give my clients a lot of autonomy. Like most of my clients, they just have RPE scales. There's some clients I still give progressions for, but most of the time I give them the RPE because I don't want to put them in this little box where like, this is the weight you have to do no matter what. Because number one, if they can't lift it that day, I don't want them to hurt themselves. And number two, if they go through that lift and they realize it was really easy, if I put, say, 125 pounds for deadlift on all four of those sets, and that's all they do, even though it was an RPE of like 4 or 5, then they're not getting any better. So educating them on RPE and letting them have that autonomy there, and then even with their nutrition, asking them if they have a calorie and a protein goal and they're hitting that, then I start to talk to them like, what would you think about a carb and a fat goal? Like, do you think that it would be overwhelming? How do you want me to coach you into it? And like asking them those questions, because I don't want to just force all these things on people and have them just completely shut down because they can't do that. They're not in the headspace to do it. Of course, I'm going to be a coach and tell you what you should do, but I'm also going to give you choices because it's, like you said, it's not one way or the highway. Like, there's different routes we can go. I'm going to give you my suggestion, another option, and let me know what you think between those two options.
Yeah, I love that.
It's so important just to be like, as hard as it can be when you're just talking to yourself on a video. You're not talking to yourself. You're talking to a client, right? But like it feels
Mhm.
like you're just talking and you're like, how do I ask the right questions? And asking questions is such an important part of coaching. It's something I really appreciate about in your check-ins is not just telling. It would be
Mhm.
so easy to sit there and be like, well, you did a good job on this and this and this. Okay, well, this was a struggle point. So this is what I want you to do this week. But it's
Mhm.
like I've noticed just how well you ask questions of like, hey, like how would it feel if we tried this? And giving clients so much more autonomy. That's like obviously we want them to learn a ton while they're with us, and like giving them the autonomy helps them not only learn but also helps them know how to like apply it
Mhm.
when they eventually graduate from the program. Like I know you
Yeah.
just had a client graduate on Saturday, but it was because she was like, I just like feel like you've set me up for success. And like that's ultimately the goal. Like as much as we love our clients, it's like we want you to graduate and know that you feel confident in doing this on your own.
Yep, that's the biggest thing I think. Because I had coaches where they didn't teach me anything, they just told me what to do. And that's nice in the moment because you don't have to think about it. But like,
Yeah.
why am I doing this? What is the purpose of doing this? I asked a
Mhm.
client today, if I add that carbon fat goal, we can like tweak it so you get more energy from the carbs. If we reduce your fat, then, we can help with your digestion issues that you're having right now. But if I give you this carbon fat goal, is it going to make you so overwhelmed that you don't want to hit any of your goals? Because we can fine tweak things, but if it's going to affect like the bigger picture, I don't want to do that. So I need
Yeah.
to know like what's in your headspace, what can you handle?
Yeah. That's huge. I love that so much. Yeah, I just feel like there's so many, like you said, it's nice in the moment when it's done for you and you're like, yeah, sick. I can just sit back and like do nothing now. But like that's not teaching clients how to maintain their results. And that's what I've found is such a huge thing that's happening in today's day and age with everything.
Mhm.
Things that are at our fingertips, so easy to consume and do. Fad diets, other coaching programs, just all the different opportunities out there. It's awesome. Everyone's trying to get healthier, but is it actually sustainable is the biggest thing. So
Well, and I think you saw that firsthand working in like a PT clinic, obviously. Like you said, it was the people who would like come to PT, they're doing great. They leave PT and then they do nothing, or they don't have any like PT is there to help you rehab, but they're not going to be there to obviously teach you the fundamentals of like nutrition and fitness and exercise and working out and building a routine that will actually keep you out of the PT office long term. So it's that same applicable thing to coaching. It's like you can work with a coach who's going to tell you, "Hey, do this, this, this," and not educate you, not explain anything, not evolve you like and help progress you. Or you can work with a coach who's gonna help you and gonna teach you that thing. And I think what I pride Apex in, and even Revolution prior to that, is like we actually had a lot of old clients who would come back after years of taking off from coaching. And it's not because they were necessarily in this like terrible place and they regressed completely. It was just because they knew that they had a new goal or they had a new change in life, whether it's postpartum, planning for a wedding now, like whatever was going on. They just had like the right place to go, that they knew like they could come in and now be taught something through a new season of life. And I think that's where like I pride Apex for sure. But if you're comparing like all these different programs out there, like that's a huge qualifier to have, is like, what am I going to take away from this? Or is this going to be the PT clinic that I continuously go back to because I'm not doing anything outside of here?
Mm-hmm. It's all about being well-rounded. Even in the PT clinic, you bring that nutrition stuff in. People would be in pain and we wouldn't know why. And I ask them like, how many cups of water have you drank today? And I'll never forget this lady. She told me she drank a gallon of lemonade every single day. And I'm like, oh, were you doing like the 0 sugar, like sugar-free? And she's like, oh no, just like the Country Time lemonade. And I'm like, I think that's why you're really sore all the time, because your muscles are like begging you for real water.
It's like that SpongeBob episode where it's like, water, water.
Like just being there, like trying to keep like a straight face. I was like, oh, okay,
That's
so
insane.
do you want me to get you a glass of water right now? Because I think you need one.
We're gonna need some water.
Is her mouth not the citrus? I'm like just thinking about the citrus and the sugar. My mouth hurts.
Yeah.
Like, did she have sores in her mouth?
I have no clue. She's the same girl who brought me in a cookie one day from this Italian bakery that she really liked, and she gave it to me from her pocket. Like, she was wearing a hoodie, and it was in her pocket, and she, like, slammed it on my
like,
desk.
was it in a container? Like, it was
No,
like,
it was just loose, and it was a
raw
rock
dog and a cookie to you.
It was a raw dogged cookie right there. That was.
And she's like, "Oh, go ahead and try the cookie." I was like, "Oh, I just had lunch. Like, I'll try it later. I'll let you know how it is."
I actually drank a gallon of lemonade. I can't. I'm good right now.
Yeah, too much
I
sugar
just threw
today.
it into the garbage after she left. I was like, "I can't do this."
Oh my gosh. And two, it was probably such a good cookie, but out of her pocket, who does that? It's a serial killer treat.
She said, "Don't worry, I washed my hands." I'm like, "Your hands aren't what I'm worried about. I don't know the last time you washed this hoodie."
Yeah.
And where was the cookie before? Why did it not come in a bag?
Oh wow, I have so
Yeah,
many
just
questions.
The things in healthcare, and like even as coaches that we hear, it's crazy.
It's crazy.
Sweet
No, like when
gesture.
clients are like TMI, I'm like, no. There's no TMI anymore.
Yeah,
like
nuh-uh.
when you're a women's health coach, all barriers are broken real fast.
I promise
quick.
I've heard or seen it all. I've worked in a hospital before.
Oh, yeah, you've seen it all for sure.
For
sure.
100%.
Yeah.
No, this has been fun though, and hopefully anyone listening gets all the vibes of how funny you are, because it's truly
Literally.
the stories that you could tell.
Yeah, this is what your check-in will be like if you end up being my client.
I
Oh
love
my
it.
gosh. Well, Carly. Oh,
I was
go
gonna
ahead.
actually wrap up with you just telling us, like, I just want to hear like 3 just fun facts about you. Like, it's like, let's just hear like, to last question. We're done with all the serious talk about coaching and how great you are. We all know how good you are now. But like, what are 3 to like, or you can tell us 10, however many fun facts
Yeah.
come to your mind, really. But like, we'll keep
Who's
it at
Carly?
3 for now.
Yeah,
Tell us.
I'm thinking back to when we all first met Revolution and Real HP, and we did 2 Truths and a Lie.
Oh
They
my
were so-
God.
I've been to Disney World 12 times. That's what you guys got wrong because I said 11. But I've been there 12. You can see my Mickey and Minnie ears up above me if you're watching this. One of my favorite pastimes is crocheting or building Legos. I went on this long streak of building Legos, but my cat Don Julio, that's another fun fact. I have
Oh
a
my
cat.
God, wait, no, yeah, the fun fact
Names.
is your cat. That alone was so good.
My cat Don Julio. The best
Yeah.
cat names ever.
His full government name is Senor Don Julio Reposado, but we just call him Mr.
Government
Man.
name.
But he consumes Legos now, so I've been taking a hiatus figuring out how to keep that away from him.
Wait, I have a serious question. When you go to the vet and they're calling you back, are they calling him by like the full name or like the government name, or are we just going by Don Julio? Like
Just
what's
Don
the-
Julio.
Okay, like I didn't know if they're like, Don Julio, your room's ready. Like,
And then my other
So
cat,
good.
Margarita, I just recently switched her to the vet that Don Julio is going to because it's closer to my house. And they're like, "Oh, what's your other cat's name?" And I was like, "You want to take a guess?" Like,
They're
it's
like Jose
Margarita.
Cuervo.
My dogs growing up, we had Jaeger, Jameson, and Moonshine.
Oh my gosh, that's
If you-
amazing. Caden's
That's why
family's
it's
dog
just
is
like
whiskey.
continuing. Yeah,
It's so
Just
funny.
alcohol. We
it
love
has to
that.
continue. Every animal I have from here on out will be an alcohol name.
Oh my
Love
gosh.
it.
You need to name one of them what's the alcohol that's in Chicago? It's
Malort.
off. Yeah, Malort.
We did
Oh my
think about that. Fun fact, my
Oh.
mom loves Malort. That's like her
Does
choice of
she?
shot if we're at the bar. She
Oh
God.
my
she's a different kind
gosh.
of woman.
We
That's
Stronger
probably
woman
why
than I
I'm as
am.
funny as I am.
We got engaged at Wrigley Field, and someone afterwards, we were like bar hopping around there,
Mhm.
and someone was like, I'm gonna buy you the shot. It's so good. It's like a tradition in Chicago.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh, awesome. Like already kind of tipsy off mimosas. And I was like,
Yeah.
what was that? Awful. But everyone needs to try it at least once. I feel like it's just a rite of passage.
Yeah, I won't give away what it tastes like because you have to try it to
What does
figure.
I don't even know what it, like, I couldn't even explain it.
I think that, like, have you ever made lemon water and you like keep on reusing the same lemon and it like gets like the rind gets so lemony that it's like burning your mouth? Like, I think it tastes like that and tree bark mixed.
Chris, have you had it?
Nope.
Oh my
You have
gosh.
to
I
try
don't need to.
You have to. It's something
We
I think
can,
everyone
we
in
can have
their
a
life.
coach's retreat and we'll do a little roulette board with some shot glasses, and one
Yes.
shot will be this
Malort.
shit.
We'll have like
And then
Rumple mints.
all the other ones can be
Oh, I love
water,
Rumple
okay?
Mints.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
we're gonna
I think
really...
we're gonna be the worst alcohols ever. We have like Jaeger in
No,
there.
there's gonna be one bad one, and then the rest are water. Whoever the unlucky soul is that gets that shot.
It's gotta be you. You've never tried it. I'm sure Megan's tried it. She's so close to Chicago.
Yeah.
Probably
She's not a big drinker though, is she? I don't know if she would. Like if she would fall in that trap. Like I'm sure she'd be able to say no to that really easy.
No, thank you.
She has more self-restraint than we do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I'll try anything once.
yeah. It's once exactly like it's just you have to do it once, and then
Yeah,
you'll
one
know
time.
it's awful, and then you'll be able to talk about it.
Yes, exactly.
Do you have any other fun
facts?
facts?
Yeah. I know. Sorry, we
Um,
took a side road.
No, I just have that. I was on the math team in high school. We went to state all 4 years, and since my freshman year, like math team wasn't really a thing, and me and my friends like kind of brought it back, and they have won the conference championship every year since then. They're on year 12 of winning the conference championship, and I started that. That's all I'll
Basically,
say.
like Katie Herring. Katie
Yeah,
Herring
you are. Katie.
from Athletes.
Basically, you can't sit with us.
Kiss it with us.
That's amazing.
But yeah, that's another fun fact about me. I'm not really that interesting. I just
Just pulls out so many fun facts. I'm not really that interesting.
Like, I sit at home.
12 fun facts. It goes, but I'm not that interesting.
Nothing really about me.
I feel like that was more fun like in my college days, and now I'm like 26 going on 85. Like I sit at home every Saturday night with my robe on, drinking a cup of tea, building Legos with my cats.
I did a face mask yesterday. It was like the most glorious thing. I was like,
Mhm.
this is 28. This is
Oh,
the glory.
no comment.
Yep. In our robes
Oh.
and all.
um,
That was fun
Well-
though.
where can people find you at, Carly?
I just changed my handle. I am now _ Coach Carly _ on Instagram.
I noticed
On
that.
TikTok, that's where most of my funnier stuff is.
Oh my
And that's Car Dog with 5 G's.
Car dog.
And it's Car DAWGGGGG.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. The
naturally.
W.
If you want to play with me on Hogwarts Legacy, that's my same name too.
Are you a Harry Potter girl?
I just watched it for the first time. I was scared of it when I was younger, so I never watched it. Like the
The
screaming,
first time?
the
Oh my
screaming plants
gosh.
scared me so much. I didn't watch anything after that. And now I've watched all the movies and I've listened to almost all the books now on audiobook.
I'm on
That's
book
so
3 right
impressive.
now, and I
The
love
Deathly
Harry
Hallows
Potter.
is 26 hours long.
How long is that book?
It's the
So the-
longest one.
Book 3 is
Nice.
weird. Prisoner of Azkaban is weird because it says it's only 177 pages on my Kindle, but
That's a lie.
there's like 3 page 5s.
Yeah, I think that
So it's
was an
actually like
11-hour audiobook.
375
5A,
pages.
5B,
Yeah.
5C.
I'm like, so something's wrong with this.
Yeah.
Did you say 177 pages is long?
No, that's not
No.
long.
Oh, I was like, Chris, what kind of books are you? Are you reading Dr. Seuss?
Just reading.
It has to have pictures.
Has to have pictures, and I have to be able to see just.
No, you said that's really long. I was like, I thought it was short. I was pumped. I was like, I'm gonna finish this book in a day.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
Kenneth
no.
and I do go on like an annual kick. Like once a year, we get this itch where we're like, let's watch all the Harry Potters.
just
Like
so
it's
good.
it's an annual thing at this point, and
is.
it's not like I have no shame in that. Harry Potter's
No.
great.
It's so good.
Yeah, we were
Such a
planning
good-
on going to Universal next year because my sister will be in Disney in February and to do all the new Harry Potter stuff that is coming out next month. But I'm getting married now, so I can't go. That's way too
Honeymoon.
expensive.
Listen, I will say, Carly, I was like, is she gonna get married at Disney? Like you do love Disney, and not gonna lie, in my head, I was like, will she have a Disney wedding?
I really thought about it, and I think that we could make it work. I don't think we could get all the people that we love out there just because it
Yeah.
is so expensive.
Yeah.
Like, I know the people who love and care about us, they would do everything they could to be there, but I know there are some people who love and care about us that couldn't spend that kind of money to be there.
Yeah.
And that's
You
on
could do your
being a good
bachelorette
person.
in Disney.
We did talk about that too, but we're going to Cabo instead.
Oh,
Yes.
That's
that's way better.
makes more sense. You can wear your Mickey ears in Cabo.
Yeah. The honeymoon will be in Disney though. That's usually something I mean, I hope so. My grandma did it for my brother and my sister, so I would assume she would
Like,
do
don't think about me. Pick me.
No.
it. So that should be our honeymoon.
My gosh.
Oh,
fun.
that's awesome. You're gonna have so much fun
So
planning
much fun.
everything, and
I know,
it
I'm
will,
so
it will be
excited.
really fun once it's like there. Like I
Yeah.
know this. I don't miss the stress of planning a wedding.
Oh my gosh,
I
it's
think
so
once
much
I
fun.
find the venue, I'm gonna be fine. Because like all the people that are emailing me and like all these different tours and the money, I'm like, once I put down the deposit and can just like scroll through the other things, I will be happy.
Yeah,
It'll be
you'll have
great.
so much fun. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for you.
Like when Kelsey and I just randomly show up to Cabo on your bachelorette, we're
Anyone
gonna win
can
our
come.
own vacation
so
to
weird
Cabo.
you're here. Oh my gosh,
My
I had
God.
no idea.
I know you put in your time off request, but it didn't occur to me that we were going to be in the same place.
Parents do have a timeshare there, Chris, so we could just potentially show up.
My sister
I
keeps on
love
asking, like, do you care how many people go? I'm like, no, everyone can come. Like, we don't have to plan dinner reservations. We don't have to plan, like, events. Like, we get there and everything's already paid for. We don't have to split Ubers. Like, that's the reason why I want to do an all-inclusive. Like, I think
Oh,
bachelor
yeah.
parties tear people apart because of money with splitting
Oh.
everything.
100%.
People, like, I planned a bachelorette last year and we spent, I think everyone had to pay me at the end like $250 total. And that was it. I was like,
Damn.
yeah, it maybe even was less than that. That was with everything. And there was like 12 of us, which did help. But someone was like, I've paid like $2,500 for a bachelorette. And I'm like,
Mhm.
no. That's not, just have fun. You don't need to be doing like 16,000 things. Insane.
Yeah. I spent like
No, you're
$1,500
doing it
to go
right.
to Scottsdale in June. You know how
Oh.
hot- I never want to go back to Arizona.
It was, you're going to have to, okay?
I'm not going in June though.
Hold up there.
I'm not going in June.
June's
Don't
not
come
even
in
that
June.
bad. July, August, this is moving.
Oh, I was so dehydrated.
I just hear you probably just it's so dry. Like that's
Yeah.
the other issue. People are like, my throat hurts. I'm like, yeah, it's
Get used to that.
Yeah,
dusty.
between the alcohol and the saltwater pool.
You're
Just
just
so dehydrated.
right.
Yeah, I was like sponge up.
Water.
Water.
Coming back to the water. We all
Yeah.
just. I hope everybody coming out of this episode can go chug some water because
Drink water.
I'm
Drink
feeling
your
awfully
water.
parched myself
I know, I'm
listening to
like-
all of this.
Oh wow, Team Chug.
Team Chug. No, this has been fun. Thank you so much, Carly, for coming on
Yes.
and gracing us with all the humor. We
Yeah.
definitely can bring you back, and maybe we can. I keep thinking for this podcast, I'm like, how can we make like fun little segments of like trivia and things? Like, I'm like, how can we
Oh,
like?
I can plan a game of trivia. I love trivia.
My
There
gosh,
we
it'd be Such
go.
a fun episode.
Like, I just
Oh,
want to create little segments, or it's like
fun.
I listen to like Kelsey or Kylie Kelsey and Chicks in the Office. That's the other one that I listen to, and they always have like fun little segments that are like on.
Trivia
And then
with
this
Rhea and
one.
Fran.
Rhea and Fran, love them.
I know. It's
They're
so
great.
good.
So good. So, mission to get this podcast to be cool.
Yeah, we'll be cool eventually. We just have to get our feet, we have to get up and running. So
Yeah.
This is the one that's going to take off. So
it's
Oh,
just the one.
yeah.
I can feel it.
I can feel the fame.
I feel the same. I can taste it. We're gonna have commercials next episode because we're gonna be sponsored.
yep, by Zevia
Lord and Zevia
and Julio.
and Don
Bye,
Julio.
Julio. Some margarita mix. It'll be great.
Yep, all sponsors of liquids.
This is going to turn into an alcohol podcast.
Wow, it's
Zevia
all
is our
like
chaser.
Chris and Kelsey after dark.
Yeah.
You have to rename this podcast.
Yikes.
Well, thank you so
well-
much, Carly, for coming on. We
Yes.
appreciate it. And thank you all for listening.
And if you liked Carly's humor or anything she had to say about coaching, there will be a link in the bio to work with her in 2 different ways, because something exciting is announcing tomorrow as you're listening to this podcast. So there will be 2 different links to work with her, 2 different opportunities for when the special announcement is over and also for now. So thank you for listening, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Mhm.